Cloverfield, 2008. This film I saw first in the cinema in February 2008, and it was like the first film with 2008 in the title. I remember that year, and I haven't seen it for, well, 17 years since that time. I like the first part, the sort of start of the found footage. But I remember finding it quite, jaded, all the special effects. I've always felt a little it's too much, over an hour of, all this sort of drama. Well, it's more than drama, it's disaster movie style stuff, and a lot of it in the dark, and we can't quite see we can see this horrible stuff, but I don't know. I remember not liking it hugely back at the time. So seeing it all over again now, I saw it last night and I liked it a bit more. So I noticed that first 17 minutes is like um, ordinary video film clips from that time, camcorder footage as it would be. And it's found footage because it says at the start that it's property of the US government. It's been found and it's at site 447, US 447, which was formerly known as Central Park, New York City. So, whoever had the camcorder that this tape was in probably didn't have a good ending. And it's very much like Blair Witch Project and numerous other films since. But of course, there's a chance that maybe they survive. So I won't talk too much about that. If I talk in the future, I'll put it on my Kelly Seconds channel, any spoilery type content. But just going off what's in the trailer, um, what happens is that I guess they're late teens or early 20s, fairly young people. Uh, and I don't know if they're famous or not. I mean, there's Rob Hawkins, played by Michael Starr David. There's Odette Eustman, who plays Beth McIntyre. I don't actually recognise most of the names, so I don't know if they've been in films since then. So, um, but uh, their acting's um, pretty good, I would say. Um, and um, it starts off with the sort of drama that many people in that generation will go through. Like uh, at the start of the film, it's it's Rob and Beth, I think, and Rob films. It's like 27 in the morning in New York City, and he's in Beth's father's apartment with Beth, and her parents are out on a trip somewhere, not in the city, and he's just filming out the amazing, floor to ceiling windows, saying it's going to be a great day. It's the 27th of April, and he goes and wakes up Beth, who's his girlfriend, and they talk about going somewhere for the day, enjoy themselves, and he's got his um, it's not even his camcorder. I think it's probably Beth's father's camcorder. I think, but they use it that day. They go out filming, but then suddenly it cuts to a party on 22nd of May, so about approaching 4 weeks later, just a random date, bit a few weeks later, not um, and at that party, um, Rob's going to Japan, and it's sort of his leaving party, and they're doing it like a surprise, and we get to meet some of their other friends, close friends, as, his brother, I think. There's Hurd, who takes over the camcording because Beth gives the camera to Rob's brother, I think, to do filming, to try and get testimonials, a bit like a wedding. That's what she says. And he doesn't want to do that, so he gives it to Hud, his best friend, who actually does do the filming and does a reasonable job, although he's a bit, he's sort of, he seems to be sort of, well, like a lot of young men, creepy about some of the women. Like the girl he fancies, I suppose, is at this party, and that's why he's agreed to do the filming. It seems just that's the impression I get. So anyway, he's doing these testimonials, and he's doing it quite well. He seems to take a light to documenting things, and then some revelations come out about Beth sleeping with someone. There's some. I won't go into that because that's not in the trailer, but then there's just this all this human dramas developing. There's what sounds like an earthquake. There's a really loud sound across the city, and everyone gets scared. Lights go out, and everyone panics and goes into the street. And that's clear from the trailer. They're going to have to fight to, t- there's there's stuff like evacuations going on. There's all sorts of stuff because they don't know what's going on, apart from there's some sort of monster. I think that's the impression. Um, I'm not sure if when I first saw this 17 years ago, I might have even fallen asleep because some of the worst things about the monster, I thought, wow, I hadn't seen that first time round, or I'd forgotten about it. So I do remember some of the stuff. I mean, how they escape the first elements, and how there's all these fallouts, and they're trying to reconnect with people because of that human drama that develops. So that's what drives the story. But of course, this untold devastation in the city. I mean, as you know from site formerly known as Central Park, that Manhattan is going to face a fair bit of devastation, and that becomes clear during this film. I mean, I guess it was about 6.5 years. I mean, I guess it was filmed in 2007, so it's probably about 6 years after the 11th of September attacks. And given all the stuff that came out about that, about how to protect society, then the sort of things that get discussed in this film aren't that shocking, really. I mean, it's still awful, but um, it's trying to save people, but not everyone necessarily survives, and some pretty awful stuff happens. It is pretty some brief, gory moments. There's a lot of psychological tension because at times you can't see what's about to happen. You hear lots of the sound, and like when they go underground in the subway, you can hear the sounds above, and it sounds like a war zone. So there's a lot of tension, and I found it more interesting this time, and I found the special effects quite gripping. And I was watching it on streaming, and um, and also the development of the story. Um, I felt for it. I felt more for the people this time, perhaps because I'd seen the first time, and perhaps it passed over me a bit. This time, I felt slightly more invested in the characters. So, um, I got to like it a bit more. So, I don't know what I scored it back in February 2008, but now, 17 and a half years later, I'm going to score this 7.25 out of 10, and that's not bad for this kind of horror film. Very much special effects heavy, lots of monsters, lots of disaster movie scenes, and it's a bit much for me, but I kept going through it. It kept my attention throughout, didn't fall asleep, didn't, and I think I may have when I first saw it in the cinema, just because there's some things I thought, wow, did that really happen first time around? Well, yeah, well, I've forgotten it since. So, um, 7.25 out of 10, not too bad for this kind of film. So, I prefer the sequel, which is kind of branched off. It's called 10 Cloverfield Lane. I'm gonna have to review that sometime, but I was much more impressed by that. So I will watch that again. I'll review it sometime soon. But as far as this film's concerned, 7.25 is probably a high score. I don't know. I'll have to check what I scored it back then because I blogged about it. I wrote notes. Um, so I'd love to know what you think as well about this film. Thanks for watching. Please like if you like this review. Please consider subscribing. Thanks if you do. Please hit the notification button. And uh, I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.